Oh, we switched places. Hey, vinyl community, how's it going? Hope everybody out there is doing well. As you can see, we are joined by a new guest today, and I'm going to say Sam is the Billy Preston of our group. And then because we needed to inject some life and some new blood into our Thursday night roundtable discussions. And so we're very happy to have Sam St. John joining us tonight as we talk about Mike Nesmith. We are going to do our top 10 Mike Nesmith songs. And we're joined also, of course, by Chris Prophy from Chris Prophy, Musically Obsessed, and Gary from Physical Format, Rock and Roll. We're just going to go down our top 10 favorite Mike Nesmith songs. Could be solo, could be as a member of the Monkees. Either way, we've got a lot of love for Mike Nesmith in this group here tonight. And very fortunately, all of us were to see Mike and Mickey on the tours that they did very recently. So very happy considering that Mike unfortunately passed away. Was it December or December of 2021? But anybody have anything you want to interject before we get to our list?
I just want to say that I'm a huge fan of country music, and I love that Nesmith brought that to the Monkees. I mean, we know that the Eagles ended up, doing the country rock thing and, the Flying Burrito Brothers and all that. But I mean, the Monkees had freaking pedal steel guitars on their albums. I mean, how cool is that? And that was because of Nesmith.
Yeah. Birds did. Yeah.
The Birds, yeah.
Or Bob Dylan, did his Nashville Skyline, and he kind of beat a lot of bands to it. And he really was kind of at the forefront of that whole country rock movement.
Yeah, I don't think he gets the credit for it that he deserves. And I think he was very influential, while he was in the Monkees, early on in his career. He didn't get the radio airplay like he should have. I'll probably touch on that more as we go along. But like Chris said, yeah, the whole country rock thing, right there at the forefront, really, and doing it in a context of this pop group that was supposed to be, like the Beatles. Well, here's our fake Beatles, and but guess what? We've got one hell of a songwriter who has to be in this band, and he wrote that type of music. He wrote all kinds of types of music, and it was influential not just on that early 70s country rock vibe, but really later on into like the 80s, like as groups as diverse as like the Bangles. I think if you listen to them and some of their songs specifically, especially like Susanna Hoffs, very much a Michael Nesmith fan, and that music translates decades past when he wrote a lot of these songs that we'll be talking about. I think what you're going to find out, you, the viewer, between the four of us talking, we will prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that Michael Nesmith and the Monkees, well overdue to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as far as that goes. To say that they were a fake group is a misnomer. They became a real group, and there were times where they had outside writers, like a lot of bands have. The whole thing of they didn't always play on all of their albums, but they did play on a lot of them. What about the Beach Boys? The Beach Boys got into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame right away. Plenty of albums they didn't play on, but Michael Nesmith is who we're focusing on, and just brilliant from day one, through many, many years. Will probably be a lot of songs we touch on today that you have never heard of, and ones that you should. So
that's what I was going to say too. It started from the get-go, because didn't Papa Jean's Blues is on the first record, right?
Yeah.
First album,
like you were saying, Gary, I mean, here's a group that they were sort of grooming to be like the Beatles. You wonder why they even allowed a country song to be on a record. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, he started from the beginning.
And to piggyback off of what y'all said as well, about the whole forefront of the country rock, I think Nesmith even mentioned in his book, Infinite Tuesday, his autobiography, which I recommend to anybody that likes music, that he hated the idea that he had, a closet full of First National Band records, and Eagles were just making their debut and all over the charts. He had all these records that nobody was ever going to listen to because of his association with a bubblegum pop group. And it's terrible that he had that stuck on him his whole life. But I think in the end, he minded it because he was always after the art more so than the fame. I don't think he would have liked to have been a Paul McCartney, a Bob Dylan, whatever the case might be. He was happy playing small clubs even up until, the late 70s before he reunited with Mickey. So, yeah, he's well overdue for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's a shame that, whenever that day might come, that, 3 out of 4 of the Monkees are no longer with us.
Yeah, really, Michael Nesmith could be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on his own,
Right.
as a solo artist, as far as that goes too. But
Yeah, it was kind of the lone holdout for a while after the Monkees reunion. He really didn't want to be a part of that. And I think it was only in the early 90s when he kind of embraced that again. And they did that Just Us album and did some tours together. And so, like the other Monkees, his participation kind of waxed and waned over the years. But I think he became more comfortable with that legacy as time went on. And definitely during that last tour that he did, you could tell how much he appreciated the fan reaction and how much the music meant to all the fans out there. And it was such a nice thing to be able to see him that last time. And it really was more to show your appreciation to Mike and to Mickey also for the music that they've given us for the last 50 years. So I'm glad was able to be a part of that, and had no idea how little time he had left. So, but all right, well, we're going to go in this order. Chris, you're going to go first, then Gary, then Sam, then myself. So Chris, you want to start us off with your number 10 pick?
Sure. My number 10 is coming from the 1977 album, From a Radio Wing, or From a Radio Engine to a Photon Wing. I always mess that up. Crazy title. But I'm going with the first song, Rio, which is, it's over 7 minutes long. It's got such a cool laid back vibe to it. I was reading up on it. I guess it was released as a single, and they did an edited version because they didn't want to release a 7 minute long song. It's such a cool tune. Like I said, real laid back. I love Nesmith's vocals on it. And there's a real funny part at the end. And that's what was cool about Nesmith. And if you watch like his videos, like Elephant Parts and things like that, he just had this cool sense of humor, almost like a Monty Python in that sort of sense. And at the end of the song, you hear this woman go, Reno? And then another person goes, not Reno, dummy, Rio de Janeiro. And it comes at the end and you don't even know it's coming. And it's just, every time I hear it, I laugh a little bit. So I just like how Nesmith incorporated some of his humor in there as well. I mean, this whole album is great, but the first song, Rio, is killer.
I think Duran Duran, didn't they cover that in the early 80s?
They did they did.
You knew that joke was coming. Don't act surprised. Like
I actually didn't know that joke was coming. I should have put it together though. Yeah.
Well, I wasn't going to let that go. Okay.
I just want to say one thing too. I'm glad we're doing this video because a lot of people I talk to have no idea that Nesmith came out with albums post Monkees. I'm like, dude, how do you not know that? So this is good. So I'm glad we're doing this.
Yeah. All right, Gary.
all right, my number 10 is from the Monkees, period, and it is off the Pisces album, and that is Daily Nightly. Now I realize, Michael Nesmith did not sing this song. Mickey Dolenz sang it, but Mike wrote it. And to me, it's just a good example of him being able to adapt to different styles of songs, because it's basically kind of a psychedelic sounding song. It sounds like a Jefferson Airplane song, really. I think Mickey Dolenz even kind of sounds like Grace Slick on certain lines in that song. And I think it's also like the first pop song that had a Moog synthesizer in it, or Moog, however you want to pronounce that. I realize they're just using it for like an effect in it, but still, it's got a historical aspect to it. And it's just, it's him. You can tell that it's Michael Nesmith saying, okay, I'm going to write this type of song, and does a great job of it.
Yeah, I'm glad you picked that song, because it just shows that he could write different stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking of the song Magnolia Sims, where he does like sort of like a 30s style, 40s style song. So, I mean, he was versatile. He didn't just do the country rock.
Yeah, and he can, I know he didn't sing this song here, but you mentioning that song, he can also adapt his voice to those kind of songs, very much so.
Yeah. Well, that song written about like the LA Strip or something like that. Like he was down.
Yeah, some kind of, I don't know if there were riots going on, what the deal was, but yeah, it's supposed to be influenced by that.
Yeah.
Like from like 1966 time period.
Right.
That's a great song.
All right, Sam.
Well, thank you all again for the invite, especially Jeff. Kind of to before I jump on to number 10, talk about Mike's voice, adapting it. And it was a song that almost made my list from the Infinite Rider album, the song Magic, where he does this high falsetto 50s style like doo-wop. And the man could do anything. He stuck to country, I'd say 90% of the time. But I mean, he had Latin beats, he had all sorts of rhythms and jangle guitars and things like that. So that's a good point. But anyway, my number 10 is from the Birds, the Bees, and the Monkeys, and it's Tapioca Tundra. One of the many songs that Mike wrote where the title doesn't appear in the song. Probably also part of his humor, just making up these nonsense titles that didn't mean anything for people to read into. But it's a famous story why he wrote it. He's told it a million times in concert, where they were on tour in LA, and he was talking to Peter Tork after the show, and they were talking about how it felt like there was a fifth member of Monkeys up stage, and Mike was saying, Peter said that's the audience, that's them, because the music has become part of their subconscious. And so he writes the song Tapioca Tundra with like this really cool, like kind of in whistly country, like I'm walking down the country road, and then all of a sudden this drum beat kicks in and double time, and it's just this killer voice with this effect on it. But I also like how later in his career he was singing the song kind of acoustically, like the way he wrote it. I think the record company kind of pressured him to make it more poppy and psychedelic, but it was neat. And I'm sure Gary and Jeff and maybe Chris, depending on how they were doing it when we saw him. I know when I saw him in Tennessee, he started the song in that acoustic vein, and then that drum kicked in, and then he went through with the original arrangement. So that stuck with me, and probably why it pushed it up into the top 10, just because of that memory in itself.
Yeah, I like the way he told that story.
Yeah. Sorry.
That intro, it throws you off because it is so different from the rest of the song, where he's just kind of whistling and you're like, what the hell is going on? Like, is it? Yeah. And then, like you say, the drum kicks in and like, oh, okay. And then, I love that little God, and the voice. Everything about that track is just so cool. And it's not that I'm a musician, but it's not like any sophisticated kind of chord progression or anything like that. I mean, it's a basic rock and roll song, but he just adds so much to it. And Yeah, I think that is an underrated album, Birds, the Bees, and the Monkeys. I don't hear people talk about it so much, and if they do, it's not always the most flattering kind of description that they give to it. But my number 10 is also from Birds, the Bees, and the Monkeys. But I'm going to go with Magnolia Sims, which we've already referenced before. But it's just such a charming song. And actually, when I was driving home from that concert, I was listening to Birds, the Bees, and the Monkeys because they had done a couple of those songs in concert. And Magnolia Sims is just such a overlooked classic. It's a gem on that album, not least of which because it's kind of got that meta audio verite moment where the record starts to skip, and then like you hear the needle dragged across the grooves, and then it, you know, picks up the rest of the song. It's got that scratchy 78 kind of a sound to it, which I think, you know, Mike wanted it to sound very authentic. And I think the inspiration for that song, he had just bought a collection of 78 records and was listening to them, and that kind of gave him that inspiration. But reminds me a little bit of When I'm 64. It's kind of got that old time feel to it, but it's just such a charming song. It's such an innocent lyric, and I love the way he sings it. He sings it with just such authority and such a charming kind of a, you know, just run and hide. That whole, you know, I mean, he sings it a lot better, but it's just like, how can you not? I mean, that song. And when I was younger and listening to this, I mean, that was a song that I used to skip over, like, whatever, you know, that song's not any good. But, you know, over time, I've grown to appreciate it. And I think it's charming as all hell, and it's adorable. And I had to put it on my list. I just think the world of it.
Love it. All right, my turn.
Yep.
All right, my number 9 is coming off my favorite Monkees record, and it's the song "Never Tell a Woman Yes." It's on the second side of the album. No, it isn't. It's on the first side of the record. I should know that, but it's
Only your favorite one.
Well, here's the thing, Gary. I usually make at least one mistake in every video, so there's my one mistake.
Oh, okay,
Wow.
we'll keep track.
So Never Tell a Woman Yes, it's on the first side of the record. It just shows you Nesmith's storytelling ability. I love the honky tonk arrangement on this song. It's basically the story about a guy who denies going on a trip with this beautiful woman, and then he ends up regretting it later, but then he ends up meeting her in the future. So, and the whole song just ties together at the end, and it's he never actually uses the words "never tell a woman yes." It was one of those you know, titles that Nesmith never actually said in the song, but it ties together at the end. And if you know the song, you know what I'm talking about. But just a really good, strong Nesmith song on this record, "Never Tell a Woman Yes."
Yeah, no, that's a good one. Kind of almost got like a Woody Guthrie sort of a talk of New York blues, or, you know, like one of those like early Bob Dylan, Woody Guthrie knockoffs that he used to do, where you're telling a story and he's just kind of telling it in a rambling kind of a way. But yeah, it's got a charm about it as well. And, you know, it's an interesting story that kind of wraps up very cool at the end. But
yeah, and you know, to talk about another country artist, Tom T. Hall, he used to do a lot of those songs where like you didn't understand what the frick the song was about until the end, that last line, and then you're like, wow, that was some good frickin' songwriting. And Nesmith did it with this song. So just really, really cool tune.
and he's got that scatting at the end.
Yeah.
Which, you know, has an element of coolness and hilarity well to it. So,
Right.
all right.
I'll probably
Right.
catch crap for showing Monkees present, but whatever.
I don't think anybody watching this is going to give us crap for showing it.
Yeah, if we made it this far.
I've had people write me on my channel before when I've rated the Monkees albums. They're like, how dare you rank Present before More of the Monkees or something like that. I'm like, oh, it's my opinion.
Yeah, I'm just ranking what I feel, man.
Exactly.
Well, there's going to be a couple from, not to give too much away, but be a couple from that album on my list. So you won't
better be.
All right, my next pick is off of what is this? Loose Salute. Isn't that what this is called?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think. Okay. Anyway, I always forget the name of that because it doesn't make sense. But anyway, I picked the song Silver Moon. I don't really have any kind of great story for it. I just like the way it sounds. It's just a great country song. I love his falsetto that he uses in that. He does such a good job. It sounds like he's harmonizing with somebody on there too. I don't know if he's harmonizing with somebody or he's double tracking his vocal, but it sounds really cool. It's got a great lap steel solo in the song. And I just, that's really all I have on that song. That's the only reason I like it. I just think it sounds great. I don't really pay attention to the story on that one, but I just think it was a really good song.
I think they released that as a single off the album too.
I think so, but I don't know that it.
Yeah, but it was a minor hit, like top 50 or something.
Yeah, I think this is a really good album. I really like this album. I mean, I think I like this better than I do Magnetic South a little bit, but that's just me.
And I think with Silver Moon too, even later in life when he was doing that, he was still hitting that note on that song. There's YouTube videos that you can look up.
That's great. Awesome.
Yeah. All right.
What do you got, Sam?
My number 9 is the opener to what many consider the best Monkees album, and it is "You Told Me," which is kind of like Nesmith does the Beatles, kind of like the Byrds. It's got this great jangle guitar with I can't remember what key it's in. I think it might be in D, it might be in A. It's one of the two. But it's just that great, down. It's kind of like "I Need You" by the Beatles, or any plethora of Bird songs. That 12-string guitar. Of course, the Monkees are playing on it for the most part, and it's kind of like what Gary was saying. It's not a whole lot to it in terms of why I like it. I've always loved that sound of guitar, of jangle pop, 60s music, going into like the 90s with groups like REM. Just that chord progression, I could hear it a million times, a million different ways, and the fact that Nesmith is singing on it, and the fact that I got to see him do it live too, was fantastic. And again, it just goes with that whole thing we were saying earlier, where Nesmith can write any style, and this is his attempt at jangle pop. So that's why it's on my list that high.
Great song.
That's a great song.
Yeah, well, and a great leadoff track too for the first album, completely
get
all the instruments on their own. So, yeah, I've always loved that track. Great one. That might show up on my list.
Mine too.
All right. Well, my number 9 song is going to be "Save a Prayer," which is off the Loose Salute album.
Save a Prayer.
Yeah, I think so. Come on.
I'm looking at the track listing here, Jeff.
All right. Well, that went over everybody's head. All right. Maybe if I said "New Moon on Monday" from the Magnetic South album, or "Union of the Snake" off
Duran Duran. Okay.
Oh, sorry. We're
slow on the snake tonight, for crying out loud. Some of my best material tonight.
Listen. If you made a Thompson Twins reference, I would have done it.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, if you want to lose the audience, start making Duran Duran references.
We should mess with people right now and just start talking about the Smiths. That's what
well, I couldn't have much to say.
All right. Heaven knows I'm miserable now. I'm going to go with Out of Bombs album. Morrissey. Okay, whatever. What are we talking about? Who
I
are
don't
we?
know, we're up to you're number 9, I think. Number 9.
All right. Sorry. Okay, my number 9 is going to be Calico Girlfriend off of, I don't know what else. It's his first solo album. Is that, what album is that? Is that
Magnetic Self.
Magnetic South.
Okay. Yeah, love that one. It's also actually there's a bonus track on the Present CD, which I think he recorded during those sessions, but I know it's different from the version that ended up on Magnetic South. But yeah, I think it might have been you, Sam, earlier, who had talked about how he used different rhythms and different styles of music. And this one kind of has like a samba type of feel to it. But, I love it. It's not country rock, even though that seemed to be the predominant style of music that he was putting out at that time. But yeah, I think it's a great track. I don't know. I've always just been drawn to that particular one.
I think on the they listed on the bonus track of Present, they listed as Calico Girlfriend Samba.
Yeah.
But then on the album, it's just Calico Girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But
sort of like Tapioca Tundra Part 2.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my number 9. All right, number 8.
Number 8, I'm going with a tune off of And the Hits Just Keep on Coming. And I in my latest video, I said I need to get this on vinyl. I think this is going to be my next vinyl. I need to find this album. But I'm going with the song Different Drum. And I remember the first time I listened to this song, I'm like, I freaking know this song. Where do I know this from? And then, doing the research, I'm like, okay, duh, the Stone Ponies covered it. Linda Ronstadt and the Stone Ponies. This whole album, I could have picked every song off this record because it's literally just Mike Nesmith on guitar and vocals and OJ Red Rhodes on pedal steel guitar. That's it. And the title of the album's funny because his record company was like, Mike, you need to write some more songs. We need another Joanne. We need some more hits. You need to write some hits. So in Michael Nesmith's humor, his next album was called And the Hits Just Keep on Coming. But Different Drum, I like Linda Ronstadt's version. Obviously, that's the version most people know. But I tend to like Nesmith's version a little bit better. It's different. He does a different rhythm with his vocals. It's a different sort of arrangement and feel to the song. It's just Nesmith-fied, and it's just I love the song. Well, Sam, you play guitar too, right? Yeah, you play guitar, and I know Gary plays guitar. This is one of those songs I like to play on the guitar. It's sort of a simple arrangement, but it's a fun song to play and sing. Just a cool tune.
And what's neat about that, Chris, is that he on this album, which is another great album, this is Mike Nesmith live at the Troubadour in 2018. That song was written well before the Monkees, and I know he told the story on the last tour where he was saying, I have this song, but it's not a Monkey song. And he said, well, I'm a monkey, this is one of my songs. And they said, no, we can't record this. The producers, not the Monkees themselves. And so it predates 1966, and he was singing at the Troubadour solo before he was Mike Nesmith. He was under the pseudonym Michael Blessing and singing the song around, and Linda Ronstadt had the hit with it before the Monkees. So it's just kind of neat that he had that song that long before he made his own definitive version of it on that record.
He actually he had the song in 1964, and it was done originally by I want to say the Bill Lambier Group. I know that's not right. I can't remember the name of that band, but anyway, some other Green Beers. I can't remember what. Some other band did it before Linda Ronstadt did. Bill Lambier is a basketball player, in case you don't know that. Anyway, but some other band did it, and then, like what you just said, the producer of the Monkees didn't want it, so the Stone Ponies got it. Now, I will say, this is not the right place to say this. I get this. I actually prefer Linda Ronstadt doing that version better, than when I hear Michael Nesmith. I like Michael Nesmith doing it, but I also think Linda Ronstadt is one of the great interpreters of songs in the last 50 years. And I just think the way she does it, the inflections that she puts on it are what I think of with that song. I realize that Michael Nesmith wrote it, so however he's singing it is the way it is probably supposed to be. And I would not say that her version is better. I'm just saying I prefer that version, but I love Michael Nesmith doing it also. That's a terrific song. I didn't put it on my list. I knew somebody would, but I mean, to me, that song is just a fantastic song. It is so catchy. Those lyrics are just fantastic. The arrangement is simple, but it's just a fantastic song. I love
Yeah,
it.
and like I said, for us guitar players, it's just G, C, and D, and then he throws an E minor in there as well.
The
But
easiest
it's
chords you
constantly
can do.
changing too. I mean, it's like a chord for every word. So I mean, your fingers are moving on it, but
everybody out there, buy this album. It's killer. It's
Yeah,
killer.
I'd like to get that.
Yeah.
I'd like to get that on vinyl.
I think the band you were thinking of, Gary, was the Pistons.
Yeah, that's what it was. I knew you would know that, being a Detroit guy. Okay, my pick. Chris already referenced this song, but I picked St. Matthew, which was one that they didn't even put out on an album, I don't think, until like years later. They released it like in the 1990 or something on one of their Missing Links or one of those kind of albums. I just think it's a really good folk rock song. It's very wordy, which makes sense because the song is actually about Bob Dylan, is why he wrote that song. So I mean, it makes sense that it's a very wordy song. It has all that religious imagery in it. Michael Nesmith said he wrote the song about Bob Dylan. Basically, he was saying that he thought Bob Dylan was putting religious images into his songs without ever even realizing it, which predates Bob Dylan and his, Christianity phase that he went through there in the 70s. So he was right, probably, on that. I just think it's one of those songs that, it stands out on its own. It's a little different than some of the other stuff he wrote, which we're all kind of talking about. We're all touching on these different phases, and this is just another one, just a great, rocking folk song.
I love it. It's like psychedelic country.
Yeah, he definitely, especially, on these two albums here, I mean, the genre that you would describe it is kind of like what you just said, psychedelic country, because some of this is just straight up country, almost bluegrass feel in a way, but then they have like weird psychedelic elements in it that I don't know. I'm not enough of a historian to know if anybody else was doing this, but I feel like he was touching on something here that nobody else quite hit upon. Very unique. I would tell anybody who doesn't own these albums here to definitely check them out, because I think they're wonderful albums and they are definitely different. They are hard to just pinpoint and say, well, this is just like, Graham Parsons at that time, or this is like Emmylou Harris. It's not, I mean, there's elements of it, but yet there's Michael Nesmith's own little magical touch on these songs.
Well, I think a big part of that was OJ Red Rhodes on pedal steel. He had this crazy way of playing the pedal steel guitar. And I think, didn't 7A Records come out with that album Cosmic Partners?
Yes.
Sam's going to show it
right here. Yeah.
And I
Awesome.
think that's a great term for them. They were cosmic partners. They were linked by, that they were linked by something out there, and I think they brought that to the music. So it was a very unique partnership.
I'm glad you mentioned the guitar, the steel player, the lap steel player.
Yeah.
All right. That's a perfect segue because I'm showing a Magnetic South song, 9 Times Blue, which, first of all, thank you to Aaron Muth Alomar, who I'm kind of pinch hitting for, as he's not with you all. But that song, 9 Times Blue, it definitely predates, the first national and Nesmith's group right after the Monkees, because there were versions of it on the Missing Links that he recorded a couple years before, and OJ Red Rhodes was also a session player with the Monkees as well, and a ton of other people. But there's a great version of this song of the Monkees doing it after Peter Tork died on the Johnny Cash show, who I know Chris is all about. And that's a really cool moment to show, because Johnny Cash was kind of like Ed Sullivan in that he was so progressive in getting these people that weren't country onto his show, which was at the Ryman Auditorium, which at that time was still the Grand Ole Opry. And so he was bringing in, Bob Dylan, Chris Christopherson, and then all of a sudden he has the Monkees without Peter Tork, with Nesmith in the middle with an acoustic guitar, and they played 9 Times Blue. Because I think they're playing Last Train at Clarksville, just the three of them. Yeah. And then they said, that's an old song. That's like 3 years old. Let's do this song. And so Nesmith does this song with Davey and Mickey harmonizing with him. And it's just a really fantastic moment to show like the Monkees, like especially Nesmith, who at this point was kind of looking like the leader because so many of his songs were on their records after Peter left. It just shows what kind of pull he had as a leader. And again, with this song on the record, how it goes straight into the song Little Red Rider, which is not on my list, which you could have merged the two of them together, which was like this really funky, bassy song that just goes totally against this acoustic kind of ballad that Nesmith wrote. Again, he wrote it during the Monkees sessions. And I think it was one of those turning point songs for him, especially going on the Johnny Cash show. He kind of could see, I've got more to it than just the Monkees pop music that I've been doing, for a few years. And now we're only a trio, and it's just ridiculous at this point for me to continue and leave my art, with these guys.
Yeah. Don't they also do Everybody Loves a Nut?
That's a great Johnny Cash record, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think on that same episode they do a version.
Oh yeah, they did. I have the DVD of the Johnny Cash show. I think that's on there, that performance.
Yeah, well, that episode that Sam's talking about there, they start saying, well, when we're here in Nashville, people are looking at us kind of strange, and that's when they go into that whole song there. It's funny because like the banter that goes on is kind of awkward.
Yeah, it's Monkees banter.
Yeah, between the Monkees and Johnny Cash, because it's like, like you said, where they were filming it, it's probably, I don't know if all of the people in the audience were all into it or whatever.
I doubt it.
Yeah, that is great. That's a great version of that song, because it's just, like you just said, Michael Nesmith playing and Mickey and Davey are just there singing along with it. Mm-hmm. It's great. It's very, very earthy, very real.
And it's such a short song. I mean, it's under 2 minutes long, but that just shows the power of it, how it's, made the list out of all the songs that he wrote and recorded.
Yeah.
Mickey's got the afro out to here.
Yeah, the afro is showing up.
Yeah.
Mickey Dolenz was a cool cat, that guy. He was
yeah.
Yeah, and he's got those crazy sideburns too. He's got like side.
Oh yeah. You ever see the Monterey Pop Festival where you see him in the audience? He's like down front. You see Mickey Dolenz, and he's just going.
He was happy to just be there. Yeah.
Yeah. He's just digging it, man.
Yeah.
Well, my number 8 is 9 Times Blue also.
Hey, cool.
So, I can't add any more to it. Great track. Wish it would have shown up on one of the Monkees albums, but there you go. Could have definitely made Changes a more interesting album, I suppose. But anyway, Mike left right before that album, so it was not meant to be. But Chris, your number 7?
Okay, my number 7 is kind of an obscure song, and I was joking with Gary about this the other day, but it's also off the album, and the hits keep on coming. It's the song called "The Upside of Goodbye," and I don't really have too much to say about the song. I like the vibe of it though, because it's about his partner, his girlfriend, his wife, whatever you want to call her, leaving him, but Nesmith as a songwriter is seeing a positive in that. So it's sort of like turning something negative of like someone you love leaving you into something positive. And I don't know, he just has a way with words with this song. And I like the arrangement of it. I like just the simple acoustic guitar and the pedal steel guitar. His vocals are spot on. It's sort of one of those unknown songs, but it really, it should be listened to because it's a very good tune. Yeah, I do. Goodbye.
You're killing it, Chris.
Yeah.
My next pick is kind of on here. I don't know if the reason I'm putting it in here, my top 10, is because of the significance that it has. And that is a song, "Listen to the Band." I put that on here because like a lot of people, the first Monkees record I ever got was this. Okay. I got this, I don't even know how long ago I got this album, but you're listening through this album, you're hearing some of these songs that you knew. Cause like for me, I remember the Monkees being syndicated. It's honestly one of the first things I can remember watching on TV, like in syndication and seeing this band play. So I knew some of the songs, you heard some of them on the radio, but you look at the back and you're looking at the songwriting credits and you're like, oh, there's one song on here, that was written by a Monkee, and it's "Listen to the Band." It's written by Michael Nesmith. And then you listen to that song and you realize it sounds different than every other song on here, and it's just, I remember that even, however old I was when I bought this, when I first heard that song, I don't even know that I liked it. But it was one of those ones that the more I listened to it, the more I liked it. And it's like, wow, this is becoming one of my favorite songs on here. I'm liking it more than some of these hits that I knew. And just the way, "Oh, mercy, woman," the way he sings that song. And I'm like, wow, that sounds like a country song or something. But yet it's got this, "Listen to the band." Ba, 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 ba. It's just such a cool song. And the message in the song, you're heartbroken and stuff, just listen to the music. It'll cheer you up. I mean, it's like part of it sounds cynical, but yet hopeful at the same time. Chris, you were talking about the way that Michael Nesmith, he has such a way with words. I mean, I think this is an early example of that with this song. And I still really enjoy this song. And I think because of that's probably the song that made me think later on, as an adult, what, there's probably more to the Monkees than what I'm realizing. That's probably the song that made me go out and buy some of these other albums, wanting to listen to more things by the Monkees, take them more seriously for what they were. So that's why that is on here. And it was actually supposed to be a B-side on a single, but it's one of those deals, kind of like, Kiss with Detroit Rock City and Beth. The DJs started playing the other side. They started playing "Listen to the Band," and that became a hit. I think it's actually off of Present, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Anyway, that's my pick.
Yeah, that's almost Mike Nesmith's signature song with the Monkees.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah, it might show up on my list, Gary.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I feel good. I feel validated. If it's going to be on Chris Brophy's list, and I can sleep well tonight.
Well, that's another fun song to play on the guitar too. Again, easy chords.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well,
Track.
Gary keeps giving me these nice segues. He just mentioned President, and I don't have a copy of it, but this is gonna be one of those things where this song, if you would have asked this song, there you go, thank you, Chris. If you would have asked me about this song 3 months ago, I didn't even really know it that well. Actually, I remember this song was sung at the concert that I went to, almost 2 months before he passed away. And I remember I asked my friend Tommy, I was like, what song is this? And he told me, because like it's one of those where the title doesn't show up, and it's the song Good Clean Fun. And it was such a perfect opener for their final tour. Fantastic. The visuals.
Wow.
It was so cool because, for those of us that were at this tour, when they came out, Mickey and Mike came out from either side. Mike is very thin, 160 pounds, it looked like, or less. And then all of a sudden he belts out this song, which has, this big line at the end where he says, I told you I'd be back. Now here I am. And I mean, he's been singing that line, they've been doing it on all the tours that they've been doing, I think, as Mike and Mickey. And it always got the same reaction where, he said it kind of tongue in cheek, and everybody in the audience just screams and yells because, as Jeff was talking about earlier, Mike was kind of the black sheep of the Monkees on multiple occasions. It wasn't until the mid 2000s that he finally kind of had a change of heart. Yeah. But it's a killer song. It's a killer country, just happy song. And again, it's kind of like listening to the band. It doesn't sound like a Monkey song, other than the fact that Michael Nesmith's on it. You wouldn't consider that a Monkey song if you heard it on the radio. But it was so cool to see it in concert. And so not only did it make my top 10, it's not even number 10, it's number 7. So it's definitely going to rise in the ranks as the years progress, I think, as I continue listening to it.
That's just a great feel-good song. There's a smile on the wind. I don't know, the whole thing. It's just such an uplifting, and it's such a simple topic. It's like this guy is flying home to meet with the love of his life or whoever, and he can't wait to get there. And it's just a nice kind of a heartwarming, wholesome kind of a track. But yeah, I love that. Just even the fiddle beginning, didn't. I mean, that whole, it's just so cool all the way around. And I didn't used to be a country fan, but it's songs like Good Clean Fun. I mean, any Mike Nesmith song. I was a Monkees fan before I was ever a country fan. And then I realized, well, you're kind of a country fan because all your favorite songs are like Mike Nesmith songs. So like that connection was made. But Good Clean Fun is a great example of, like, wait a minute, this is a country song. How can I like a song like this when I don't like country? But I mean, Mike Nesmith definitely had a way of presenting country in, as something that, if you liked rock and roll, you would still love Good Clean Fun, or, some of his other Papa Jean's Blues, or some of the other country tracks that he was putting out.
Agreed.
All right. My number 7 is going to be Girls on Film, from the come on,
wasn't that on Message?
Crying out loud. All right. Okay. No, my number 7.
Wait. How many beers have you had?
Like, this is what we do, Sam. We just totally.
Well, okay. So here's the thing. If you haven't picked up, Jeff is really into his synth pop. If you're into like Erasure and freaking Depeche Mode and Thompson Twins, and
so what you're saying is Pull It is his favorite album by the Monkees.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
And he won't admit that. Like he thinks he's cool by saying Present is his favorite album.
Yeah.
But it's really
Pull It. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I got a soft spot for the Pull It album. I'll admit, but okay, no, all kidding aside, all shenanigans out of the way. I'm gonna go with Nevada Fighter.
Yes.
Nevada Fighter. Is that a Mike Nesmith track? Nevada Fighter.
Yes.
Yes, yes. I love that one. It reminds me a little bit of Circle Sky, but it's got just a cool rhythm to it.
Forgot about Circle.
Yeah, it's just kind of one of those driving rockers. I love the hell out of that track. No idea what the lyrics mean, but that's beside the point. Nothing.
I am so annoyed at myself because Sam picks Tapioca Tundra. I'm like, I forgot about that freaking song. And then you just mentioned Circle Sky. I'm like, damn it, that's another one of my favorite songs.
Damn it, son.
We should have done a top 20.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, the song is Nevada Fighter. I just sort of cross-referenced Circle Sky. So I'm kind of cheating. I'm going to go with Nevada Fighter / Circle Sky, the studio version, not the live version.
You just pulled an Aaron Mutha Alamer.
I did.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, you see how I did that? All right. Well,
My turn.
Chris, yeah.
Tell me just one more time the reason why you must leave. Some of Shelley's Blues. All right, off of pretty much your standard ranch stash. I want to sing that whole freaking song. I want to go grab my guitar and just rock it out. But 1973, I knew the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band covered this tune. I didn't. The Stone Ponies covered it as well. But Some of Shelley's Blues, just another song that obviously connected with other bands, and they thought that they could have a hit with it as well. And the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band did have a hit with it. But another example that shows that Nesmith could just write a very good commercial song that people identified with. And again, he used a lot of the same chords, but he did something different with them every time. And Jeff had mentioned too how it's a country song, but if you're into rock and roll, you're going to dig it as well. So it's a nice mixture of the country and the rock. And this is another album. If you don't know it, you need to know this album. This is a killer record. And his humor here, by his eye here, he's winking, and it says very small, buy this compact disc. And on the record, I think it said buy this LP or buy this record, but there's another example of his humor. But yeah, just a killer song. Awesome. Yeah. I've never seen the paper.
So this is from his the songs box set that came out. So it's the LP artwork shrunk down to the CD. It's all of his albums. Yeah.
Yeah, so now I need to listen to the Stone Ponies do Some of Shelley's Blues.
Didn't A Flock of Seagulls do that?
No, I think it was Duran Duran actually.
Was it?
It was the B-side, it was the B-side to Hungry Like a Wolf.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think Missing Persons did a version also, if I remember right.
And the Motels.
And Falco.
I love Falco.
Of course you do.
And okay, since we're on that topic, I'll say Taco as well. I
was gonna go with Taco too next.
Taco rules.
Well, and Gary's gonna sit there on his high horse. I don't listen to synth pop.
That's who I do. I do listen.
Now, meanwhile,
I love
Gary
Berlin. I love Berlin.
Oh, Berlin. Okay.
Berlin.
Yeah. So there. And you know what? Dickhead, I saw that Duran Duran, their latest album. I almost picked it up. I said, you know what? My buddy Jeff is always talking about these guys and how they're better than the Beatles and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, you know what? I should pick up their new album. But I just haven't quite done it yet. But at some point I might.
Or we might have to VCLT you some Duran Duran there. Sure.
No, don't do that. Now it sounds like I'm begging for an album.
No, you will be getting 7 in the Ragged Tiger.
You know what? I found a couple copies of Rio that I almost picked up, but they were always kind of beat up. So I want to find a good copy. Anyway.
Fair enough.
On to our picks. We're talking about Michael Nesmith.
Mike Nesmith.
Mike Nesmith and his.
Well,
and his-
but Sam, I'm going to say this too. This is where we start geeking out a little bit. We're like, oh, we're going to throw out these other musical references too, so people know that
I'm all in. Yeah.
we know all these other bands too. Like
Taco. Yeah.
Yeah, he knows Taco.
Wow,
Wow.
that guy's so cool. What are we on? 6, number 6. So
Yeah.
I'm going to be like Jeff. You know, I have no more than I did before. Now I have all that I need. For I love you and I know you love me.
Play it for
Right?
Magic Fingers.
Come on, yeah, there you go. That's really all I need to say about that, right? I love the chorus of that song, Papa Jean's Blues. Great song. That's really all I'm going to say. That's just a great pop song on there, man.
Love it.
Got the little bit of country element thrown into there. Got the little bit of the weirdness to it, you know, that was of the times of, like, you know, how the Beatles had all those kind of oddball songs and stuff. Michael Nesmith could do that stuff.
It's kind of like a hillbilly jug band kind of a tune, you know, and I mean that in a very nice way. But yeah, I don't know, like straight out of the gate, that is the best track off of the first album, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those, it's like the Beatles, you know, could do a track like, you know, a country tinged track like Babies in Black, but it would be like, oh, it's just a regular rock and roll song. I mean, I don't know, that song, you know, it's in the TV show a bunch of times. And I think that's probably the first place I heard it, was watching the TV show, and like, oh, that song's cool. And
Yeah.
You know, they'd have like those romps where they would just play the music and they'd be all running and jumping around and acting kind of silly and stuff like that. But yeah, like it's the first introduction to Mike Nesmith as a songwriter, but damn, what a perfect piece of not only country music, but pop music. And I mean, just what a great chorus, you know, I have no more than I did before. You know, which Paul McCartney kind of,
That chorus is ear candy, man. That just, you know, you hear that, it gets stuck in your head.
Yeah, no, but for good reason. I mean, there's a reason why that song is such a, you know, ear candy. And but great pick.
I really like that song, but I and this is not a Nesmith song, but I prefer the song "Gonna Buy Me a Dog" better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would. This is the part of the video where Chris starts saying ridiculous shit just to see if we're still like paying attention.
Well, and by this point, nobody's watching.
That's true. This is where Chris,
the only person watching right now is probably Robert's on my turntable. He's still watching.
Hey, Robert.
Hey, Robert.
Chris is going to try to become avant-garde now. He'll just start making these ridiculous statements. You know,
I'm going to get artsy now.
He'll get his pipe. He'll get his pipe out in a second.
Wipe off the glasses.
Let's see. Yes, I mean Nesmith. Yeah.
All
You have a
right.
pick, Jeff?
Information Society. I want to know what
whose turn is it?
It's
Whose
me.
turn is it?
Oh, Sam's.
Yeah.
Oh, Sam. I'm sorry.
Number 6. Chris has mentioned this album a couple of times, and the hits just keep on coming. And the song is "Keep On," which many, many times I've said that that's my favorite Nesmith song. At this moment in time, it's not, but it has been several times. It was given new life. I don't have the record with me. I don't know if Chris has it within arm's reach, but the Dolans Nesmith record, Nicky Dolans does a killer version of it where he does this intro. And I highly recommend that album. And now it's become kind of like a tribute to Nez, because it came out while Nez was around, and they even have copies where both of them had signed it. But it's just this great line, you know, consider the source and ignore if you can. then later he says, "You're doing just fine. Keep on keeping on." And it's Nesmith and Red Rhodes playing together just as a duo. And I love Nesmith's vocal range in that song. And that whole record is just a whole, there's a mood to that album. And yeah, that's probably one I'll listen to, tonight before I go to bed. I'll listen to that song again just because I love it so much. And I love what Mickey Dolenz did with it as well in that album. It gave it a new audience, I think, and I hope.
So basically, if you haven't picked that album up yet, you need to get that album on CD or vinyl or however you can get a hold of it, because already I think we've got 3 tracks off of that have been.
Yeah, we've got Upside of Goodbye, Different Drum, and Sam just said Keep On. So we got 3 songs off of there.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, my number 6 is going to be Is There Something I Should Know? Not sure what album that is off of, but
it's off of Infinite Rider on the Big Dogma.
yes, that's the one. That is the one. But I love, the Please Please Tell Me Now, Please Please Tell Me Now. But anyway,
Please tell me
the
now.
problem is that as I'm looking through my list, I have only 1 track left on here that somebody hasn't already taken. So my number 6 is Good Clean Fun, which we've already talked about. We've already said how great that track is. You guys are stealing my thunder left and right. But all right, well, I'm at least I'm going to show, this is one of my copies of one of my favorite Monkees albums. But what I didn't like about the Rhino reissues, they got on the back, they have they had to make it pastel. Instead of the black and white cover, they had add a little bit of pastels to it, but whatever. But yeah, Good Clean Fun. I've already talked a little bit about it, but yeah, that's my number 6.
Good pick.
Well, my number 6, one of my favorite.
Number 5.
One of my favorite Donovan songs off of Cosmic Wheels is no, I'm just kidding. This is probably going to be the last video Sam does with us, by the way.
He's going to go back and talk to some of the other people, and he's going to go, those guys are
assholes.
They're stupid.
Well, yeah, if Robert is still watching, he can back me up.
Yeah,
I'll do video with Robert as well.
Okay, so seriously,
we're trying to leave a good impression here,
Oh, all right.
I'll spread it around the neighborhood. Yeah, you'll have 1,000 new subscribers before nightfall on the West
I think
Coast.
Sam has the most hair out of all 4 of us.
Yeah, I think we all
Yeah.
about 8 subscribers.
He's also a lot younger than the rest of us, for God's sakes.
Maybe Sam will bring the ladies to our channel.
Yeah,
That's what Glenn Kellaway always hopes, but I don't know.
Sam is like our lure.
Yeah.
We'll put Sam out there in the pond and be like, ladies, come watch our videos.
Yeah, there's some under the table dealings here to get me on.
I'm just kidding. Okay, so anyway, I've lost my train of thought, but number 5, only Nesmith could write a song that had this title, Propinquity. I've Just Begun to Care. And it's off of Nevada Fighter. We've referenced this album a few times too.
Yeah.
Just an amazing song. I don't really know what to say about it other than I love it. It's got a great melody to it. I've known you for a long time, but I've just begun to care. It's just another great country song, great melody, just a well-written tune. That's all I got.
Isn't that on one of the Missing Links compilations also?
Well, it's not on the first one. It might be on the second or the third one. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, because I know I've heard that before, but just not on a Mike Nesmith album.
Somebody should cover that song. It could be a hit.
Yeah.
I think you should do it, Chris.
propinquity. I had to look that up. I still don't know exactly. It's about how close you are to something, though. But it's such a, I mean, what a cool name for a song. There you go.
Right.
There's your vocabulary for the day, Gary.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I will try to use that word at work tomorrow with somebody out in the shop.
Okay.
So my top five, they're pretty interchangeable, really. I mean, any of these songs, we got to have some kind of order. But anyway, my number five is I'll Just Mosey On. Thanks for the ride.
Nice.
What a great song. I love that song. I love the way it sounds very reflective. And that was, after Michael Nesmith passed away, that was a song you guys, everybody else was doing these great tributes, and stuff. And I thought I can't really add anything. So I just played that song. I just played that song for my tribute because that was the song that came to my mind. And it seems fitting. It's just a lovely song, off his second solo album there. And I just really like it. I like the lyrics too. I like the way he sings. It's just a nice song. Once again, I don't have a whole lot to say about it besides that. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, by this point in the video, we're just like, yeah, this song is great. I like it.
All right. My number five, and again, Chris can hold up this record. It's again from Present. It's already been mentioned. Listen to the band. We've talked about it. It was great to see Nesmith do it live again, even though, he's not playing with his guitar for those last, 3 months that he was on tour, but it's a killer rock song. And I agree with what Gary said about it kind of being that song that kind of pushed me into more of the deeper cuts on the Monkees. Because I picked up one of the later Rhino greatest hits that came out in the early 2000s. It had some of like I think it had like Heart and Soul was on it. So it was obviously later, but that listening to the band, I heard it. I was like, that's really cool. Like that brass section and everything. And that was kind of one of those songs that made me listen more and more to the Monkees as a group. And then, the snowball kept going where I jumped into Nesmith's tunes. So it's a killer song. It has every right to be Nesmith's kind of signature tune. And, also being like the last solo song that he sang live was that song, because they were, finishing with that song and then I'm a Believer. So it's great that he got to sing it just before he passed.
Yeah.
Great song.
All right. Well, my original number five was Tapioca Tundra, but that was taken already. So I'm going to change things up a little. I'm going to go with another Monkey song that was written by Mike Nesmith, but sung by Mickey Dolenz, The Girl That I Knew Somewhere, which was fantastic. Yeah, just a fantastic. It was written and recorded during the headquarters sessions, but released as a single. It doesn't appear on the album, but just a great single. I love everything about it. I love the verses, the chorus, the middle eight. Just a fantastic pop song. And, I love the harpsichord solo on there, which you don't see too many harpsichord solos on rock and roll records, but
did Peter Tork play that? Do you know?
Probably, I would imagine he did, yeah, because he was really an accomplished musician, and particularly on the keyboard. So yeah, I'm pretty sure he did.
Well, when you said a song written by Nesmith by Mickey, I thought you were going to do Auntie's Municipal Court.
That would be another one, yeah.
Yeah.
But also another one that was prominently in the TV show, which is where I first heard it.
Yeah.
All right.
It's great.
Number four.
Yes.
They told me what you'd say, that you turn and walk away and find another place to play while I cry. One of the most beautiful songs written. It doesn't even sound like a monkey song, but
Mhm.
we've already said that before. While I Cry, I don't know. Again, I don't know why I like it. I just like the song. It's a beautiful song. I love the lyrics. If you've ever lost anybody, you can identify with this song. And another well-written song. A lot of these songs should have been huge freaking hits. Like, who said, Sam, did you say Listen to the Band or what song was not originally even going to be on one of the records? Was it
different drum? Wasn't
different
gonna be.
drum or any of? I mean, these songs are like well-crafted songs. They should have been hits. They should have been promoted more. I don't know,
Yeah.
but whatever. Nobody likes me.
Well, it's one of those songs, and I know other songs have been written about it, but it's basically, this guy's friends sitting him down when they find out who he's dating, who he's in a relationship with, and they're like, why are you with that cold, calculating, that bitch? Like, don't you understand? Like, there's going to come a time in your life where you're going to be down on your luck. You're going to be sobbing, and that bitch is going to be laughing behind your back. She's going to be two-timing you. She's no good. You're like, what are you doing? Like almost like an intervention, and that's kind of what the song is about. And sort of like everything happened, and he's like, oh yeah, my friends did tell me that this day would come when I would realize what a mistake I made. And now I've wasted all these years of my life. And this woman, she doesn't care about me. And she's laughing when I'm sitting here sobbing, when I'm down on my luck. And
one day you'll be divorced and living in a 2-bedroom apartment and doing a video with 3 other guys about Michael Nesmith.
Yeah.
Like what, they told me what you would do and I didn't listen.
Yeah. When they tried talking him out of it, though, his only answer was baby got back.
So here, this is the theme here, Sam, is you're still young.
Yeah.
Don't get involved with a woman.
Hey, I am not saying that.
I'm kidding.
Well,
Okay.
at the very least, never tell a woman yes.
No.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the subtitle of the video.
Or if you do, you'll be headed to Auntie's municipal court. So.
But all joking aside, though, seriously, when Gary and I saw Mike, he did this song in concert, and he kind of turned it around because that was the interpretation that all of us had going into it. But, Mike, when he was introducing that song or at some point, I don't know. I remember him like that last line where he said, and sure enough, it all came true, and he was really kind of directing it as the audience is kind of like, oh, in an affectionate way, not like,
What did he say in that speech where he was talking about he wanted it to go toward the fan of the Monkees? Like he wanted it to like, he wanted like the 10-year-old kid that's sitting in front of their turntable to associate with that song. In reality, that song is so sophisticated. No little kid is going to understand that because by that point the Monkey show was over and Peter was gone, and so it was completely against what he was wanting it to be for.
Mm-hmm.
Topically.
Yeah. Well, it's one of Mike's best tracks, no question about it.
And what's a shame by this point, it just reminded me they did the song on here, Teardrop City, the Boyce and Hart tune, because the record company was trying to bring back that old Monkees magic, but screw the Monkees magic. There were some good songs on this.
Oh yeah.
Like I like Teardrop City, but we don't need Teardrop City. We've got Wild Eye on here. We've got, Me Without You and a lot of great tunes. I don't know.
No, that's good. I almost put While I Cry on my list. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
I was going to put for my number 4, You Told Me, because I just, to quote Chris, frickin', I frickin' love that song.
I'm trying to watch my language tonight.
I know we have Sam here tonight.
Yeah.
But Sam already talked about this. The only thing I will add to that is Peter Tork playing banjo on that song. Is very cool. So I'm gonna throw in the song Righting Wrongs.
Ooh, wow.
I think that's a pretty cool song. I like that whole echo kind of vocal that he has going through that song. It's very it's off the Birds and the Bees thing. Do I have that up here? Oh yeah, behind me. It's a very dramatic sounding song. It's like a protest style song, and it's got that really kind of long instrumental break in that song to where it's almost a little bit like an early Pink Floyd song, because the instrumental break is kind of different, than the rest of the song. And then it just comes right back into the song, at the end. It's still got like another minute left of vocals or so on there. And I just think it's kind of an odd song, but I really like that song.
Well, it's
really bizarre.
It's funny you mentioned Pink Floyd, because Nesmith co-wrote that with Syd Barrett. It was originally going to be on Piper at the Gates of Dawn, but
was it now?
It just didn't show up.
Well, that makes perfect sense.
Do you realize that Sam is the most mature?
I know. That's
I feel bad. Sam is trying to have a serious Nesmith video. And
he's like, I love Michael Nesmith, and I can't wait to go on and explain why and how fantastic he is with these three other older gentlemen.
I never would have learned that Nesmith and Syd Barrett, knew each other. So this is, new information that I can spread to everybody.
And you wouldn't have made that whole Monkees and Duran connection and
exactly,
all that stupid shit. There you go. See,
and it's common knowledge amongst the three of you.
Well, yeah, there's all kinds of things that only we know.
Yeah, right.
Well, that song, it sounds like it was recorded in a gymnasium, to get back to because you got like that kind of that piano and the whole, the drums kick in and it's very echoey, and then you got like that organ that adds kind of a chilling effect to it. And then you got almost like that James Brown kind of funk soul middle part, like you say, and then it kind of settles down and goes back into it. But it's just like, dun, 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 dun. It's like not anything super sophisticated, but it works. I'm glad that ends side one. I think it's cool, it's quirky. But
it clocks in it being like 7 minutes or something like that. So very different.
What was Nesmith on during the recording of that album? I think it's the songs that he wrote, Magnolia Sims, for that album, Auntie's Municipal Court, Righting Wrongs,
Tapioca Tundra.
I mean, those are all like out there songs.
Yeah.
Well, he should have had more. I know he had more in his back pocket. I would have loved, another Nesmith track instead of We Were Made for Each Other. That cheesy Davy Jones bullshit that ended up on that record. It would have made it a lot better.
We were made for each other.
Yeah, and like, what the hell? Why does Dream World lead off that? I mean, when I talk about how great I think Birds of Bees and the Monkey is, if not for the goddamn Davy Jones shit on this record, like Dream World, what are you thinking? Man. Why the hell are you putting Dream World as an opening track? Are you kidding me? Like, well, I would have been like, I bought this record. Like, what the hell is this?
What's the Davy narrates in More of the Monkeys?
Oh, The Day We Fall in Love or something.
Oh, it's like
what
the
is
poem.
That bullshit.
It's like the poem, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
all right, we need a song in here that the ladies are going to identify with.
Yeah, all the 14-year-old girls like Davy Jones.
Yeah.
He was very,
charismatic.
Charismatic, feminine looking kind of guy, Guy didn't have any body hair. Come on.
He was he was on the Brady Bunch too. I know
exactly. And Marsha had a big crush on him.
thing for him. Yeah.
The guy
But
was
like,
in
I
his,
mean, imagine.
There was a while in 1992 where I think I had a crush on Davy Jones.
But personally, I mean, yeah, granted, like The Day We Fall in Love is a piece of garbage, but like you thought, like because at least with Headquarters and at least with Pisces Aquarius, it's like, okay, they were able to temper Davy Jones's, his whole like show tuney kind of, sappy stuff. At least I don't mind any of the Davy Jones stuff on Headquarters or on Pisces Aquarius, but I can imagine going out buying this record, and then the first thing you put the needle down, you got to put up with Dream World, and then it's like, oh, okay, Annie's Municipal Court. Now we're talking, great, fantastic track. And then We Were Made for Each Other. God damn it! Like, already we're 3 tracks in. We already had
damn
2
you, Davy Jones.
Davy Jones songs. And then Tapioca Tundra is like, okay, great. And then Daydream Believer, fine. And then the Poster, which is
That's a
whatever.
good. I like that song. That's a good song.
Yeah, I mean, at least it's doesn't sound like a Paul Williams cheesy, song. Finally, and then
Is
like
this
that's the
slowly-
last,
this
but
is-
it doesn't start. It doesn't
becoming an
bode well.
anti-Davy Jones video.
Yeah.
You know what? I also saw a show with Mickey Dolenz and Davy Jones once, back in the 90s, earlier 90s, very early 90s. I saw him. I went to see a minor league baseball game, and after the game, it was Mickey Dolenz and Davy Jones. And here's the bricked up part of it. They were like signing autographs after the show. And, at that time, I didn't have all the Monkees album stuff I do now. And I kind of wanted to go down there, but, I thought, well, there's a big line and stuff. And now I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing I'll say about Davy Jones. Okay, if you were to put the question out there, okay, there's a track that Neil Young does a guitar solo on. Was that track by Peter Tork, Mike Nesmith, Mickey Dolenz, or Davy Jones? The last person you would pick would be Davy Jones. You'd be like, there's no fucking way that Neil Young plays lead guitar on a Davy Jones track, but he does on Instant Replay. That's a fantastic song, and it's totally self-aware. Like, you know what? Our popularity, like we're going to be gone, and he was so right, because it's a song about the fact, like, okay, we're yesterday's news, and, there's going to be another bubblegum pop band, that's going to take our place. And Neil Young just totally shreds that guitar solo on there. It's so totally like, that's a Davy Jones song. Like, what in the hell? But I mean, 99 pounds off changes is such an unexpected Davy Jones song. So, I mean, as much as he could put out like crap, like, We Were Made for Each Other, The Day We Fall in Love, Dream World, Hard to Believe, whatever, like stuff like that, he could also, tear it up on certain tracks. And I know we're not here to talk about Davy Jones, but I'm just saying.
I don't even know whose pick it is.
Listen, we're not here to talk about Davy Jones, but for the past 20 minutes, we've been talking about.
We have
done nothing but talk about Davy Jones. So,
and when we talk about Davy Jones, just to be clear, we're not talking about David Bowie.
No.
Very good.
Or Davy Jones' Locker.
I don't even know, where are we? Whose turn is it?
Who's
What
up
number
next?
are we on?
I think I'm up for number 4.
Okay.
Sorry.
Good Lord. We
Sorry,
spent all this. I made my pick 40 minutes ago, and we are just now getting to Sam.
The sunrise is beautiful here, from my window. No, it's another one that Chris just mentioned. Whenever he gave his
20
pick
minutes ago?
to this song, yeah, Propinquity. And I know he was asking like if this could be a hit for somebody else. The Dirt Band actually covered this one as well.
Oh, really? Okay.
And there's a really cool version of the Dirt Band's version around the same time that they did some Shelley's Blues. And yeah, just one of those pretty songs that I like to play it on guitar as well. It's one of the first Nesmith tunes I tried to learn once I started getting into his solo stuff. And it's from the Nevada Fighter record. which is the third of his trilogy with the First National Band. So that's my number 4.
Great choice.
Awesome.
All right, let's speed it up.
Well,
Let's go, Jeff. Come on.
No Duran Duran jokes, Jeff.
I know, like I can't think of any more Duran Duran songs to even,
Thank God.
right, keep the whole thing going. You guys wouldn't laugh anyway. You guys would be like, oh.
Oh,
I would never put a synth pop record on the turntable.
Yeah, so anyway, my number 4 is off the Headquarters album, and it was You Told Me, but I guess I'll go with Sunny Girlfriend since we haven't mentioned that one yet, and that's a good one too. So yeah, let's say Sunny Girlfriend is great. I mean, You Told Me is great, but Sunny Girlfriend also, now that I'm looking at the track listing on here, that's a great Mike Nesmith song. Also, she owns and operates her own Sunshine Factory, painting smiles on dolls and then on me. She's my Sunny Girlfriend and personality.
and great harmony with Mickey too.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love that. And it's just, I mean, again, it's sort of like, well, that could have been on Rubber Soul or Revolver. It's right in keeping with that whole, Beatles connection. But yeah, that's my pick.
All right. Well, my number three has already been mentioned. It's 9 Times Blue. So instead of that, I'll pick Circle Sky.
God damn it.
Well, I mean, Circle Sky isn't the official pick. 9 Times Blue is the official pick. So
Okay.
there you go.
All right.
So Gary, Circle Sky, huh?
Not yet, but anyway, my number 3 pick is I think it's the only song I actually picked off of this album, which is weird. But I picked the song Hollywood off of Magnetic South. I really like that song. To me, it's very much him saying, he's talking about the Monkees in that song. I think he's kind of saying goodbye to that whole era of the Monkees. He's got goodbye, goodbye, cruel town. You've been a fair weather friend. Now I will go to some place that I know where things don't just start to end. There's different lines in that song. I don't know. To me, that seems what he's talking about. But even besides just the lyrical content, I think it's a very unique song. We keep talking about Michael Nesmith's unique writing, and this is another example of it. He's got those very quiet verses that he does, and the hi-hat is like way out in front in that recording. And it's like, holy cow, I mean, it just sounds like it's right there. And then the chorus changes. I just think it's a really cool song. And I think the other thing that album, the last time I listened to it made me think was that, like, these 2 albums, they both sound really good. These are really good sounding records, man. And that song there really makes you realize it because of just the way that hi-hat sounds. It just sounds like it's right there in the room with you. And I just think it's a fantastic song. So Hollywood is my number 3.
Ballsy pick. Ballsy pick.
That is. It's kind of a fade in too.
Yeah.
That song. Chris mentioned it. He said it didn't really count for him, but it's going to count for me. It's Circle Sky. It's like one of the ultimate moments in the Head movie. They're all wearing those cool white suits. The drum says drum on it, and that was a highlight for me. I think this is actually one of the songs that they removed from their set list as their tour progressed into the last year. But I was lucky enough to see Nez do Circle Sky with Mickey in early October last year, and it was killer. And his voice, I think I want to say it's a high G chord that Nesmith is singing, but it's just a killer vocal. It really shows Nesmith's vocal ability too. I mean, he talked with that low drawl that he had, but his voice was actually really high. Like he had a high range to his voice, and this song just blows so many other Monkey songs out of the water once this one came into being. So it's number 3.
It's a heavy guitar riff too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, I think Peter Tork was seriously pissed off that they put the studio version on the record and not the live version, because Peter Tork felt like, well, why would you put that studio version on when we nailed it? That live version that's it's a bonus track on the Head CD. But I don't know, like I actually kind of prefer the studio version with the maracas and that
and
kind of thing.
There's a bootleg video on YouTube that y'all probably have seen, but it's of the actual concert that they were at. They only sing Nez songs, and I think it was so that they could get his voice warmed up to finish with that Circle Sky, because you can hear Peter is telling them to do the chant, give me a W, from the Head scene. But they sing all these Nez tunes, and I'm like, that would be like the coolest Monkees concert to go to, is to see the original guys playing their instruments, just doing Nez tunes. Like that's like a dream. And those kids didn't even know it. They're just seeing Davy Jones with his tambourine. That's all they care about.
Right.
Unfortunately. Yeah. We've already talked about him. Yeah.
Well, my number 3 pick is one that's already been talked about. Like I say, Listen to the Band, which is about the only redeeming song on that abomination of a TV special called 33 1/3 Revolutions per Monkey, that piece of garbage with Brian Auger Trinity bullshit in there. But like the final end is like the only thing that like is actually watchable, where they kind of do that track, and it's not done the way the studio version is done. And it's interesting because that song had not yet been released. The present album wouldn't be released until the following year, but you've got Mike kind of doing that song. You've got all like the hippie chicks and people kind of rolling out there. It's almost like the Hey Jude, that video that they did on the David Frost show, which became the official video, where you've got like everybody that kind of converges as they're closing that song. It's sort of the idea. If you've ever seen that piece of crap TV special, it's on. If you bought the DVD special, season 2 of the Monkees, it's like a bonus feature on there. But yeah, I mean, I Listen to the Band again. I maintain is Mike Nesmith's signature song. I first heard it on the Greatest Hits compilation that Gary showed. But it's an interesting song. I think Mike sings it well. Listen to the band, and then the brass kicks in, and the whole, and I love, and like what other song where it's just kind of like, I love that part where it's,
yeah,
and you got that. Listen to the band, and then it like explodes again. I mean, it's just like pure pop magic. I love it. You feel like you're listening to the track right now, I'm sure, but yeah. I mean, and I know I'm kind of being facetious, but yeah, I think it's a great track. I love it, and it's on one of my favorite Monkey albums, which I will show again.
Just in case we haven't shown it.
Yeah. All right. What are we on? Number 2?
Yeah. And I'm really surprised nobody's mentioned the song. It was, just one of his biggest hits post Monkees, released in 1970, reached number 21 on the Billboard chart, had a beautiful falsetto by Mr. Nesmith. Her name was Joanne, and she lived in a meadow by a pond. Yeah, Michael Nesmith, Joanne, the first single off the record. I got to see him and hear him sing it live with just his guitar. Song still gets me. It's a fun song to play on the guitar for myself. And yeah, I think it's another signature Nesmith tune.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a great song.
There you go.
And my number 2, I don't give a shit that everybody's talking about it. I'm going to say it anyway.
Circle Sky.
Is it? It looks like we've made it once again. Circle
I thought you were
Sky.
gonna sing. I thought you were gonna sing. It looks like we made it. Looks like we made it.
Looks like we made it.
That was the demo. Yeah.
Barry Manilow.
Yeah. I like that, I like the way that song starts out too. That whole descending guitar line. Doom, da-doom, 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 da-doom.
It's just the same chord shape all the way down the neck. It's fantastic.
It's awesome. I love it. It's just a good rocking song. Excellent.
Circle Sky.
Wow.
Excellent vocals on it, man.
Thank you.
I can't sing that high. So yeah, that's my number 2.
Sorry.
From Head.
My number 2 is another one of those older songs that he recorded later. He finally put it on Ranch Stash. It was some of Shelley's Blues. I think Chris mentioned it earlier. He talked about the Dirt Band doing it. Linda Ronstadt took it, made it hers too later. It's one of my favorites on guitar. Again, one of those killer vocals by Nesmith, that high country, lonesome sound that he had. And I really love his version. And it dates back, I think it's on some Missing Links. I'm not 100%, but I think there is a Missing Links version of it on one of those 3 records. So it predates the Nesmith solo years for sure, but it'll always be one of my favorites, and it's interchangeable in my top 5. It can be number 1 tomorrow, but
All right.
Great. Good pick. My number 2 is going to be Don't Mess with Dr. Dream, off of the Hits Just Keep On Coming album. No, it's not. Okay, anyway. All right, Papa Jean's Blues. We've already talked about this one. I've already said my piece about it. So out there, Dave. All right, I'm going to show the album since I did pull it out off the debut Monkees album, Meet the Monkees. Wonder where they got that title from. No idea. Strange. But anyway, yeah. So Papa Jean's Blues, fantastic. Love it. Great freaking track. All right, Chris, your number 1.
My number 1's already been talked about. It's Listen to the Band. For me, and I think I have the same story as you, Gary, and I'm not saying this just because you said it. I mean, whatever you say, I really gravitate to, but I remember the cassette of the Monkees' Greatest Hits, and you're right, that song, Listen to the Band, doesn't sound like anything else on that record. And it just jumps out at you, and it's it's Nez's signature song for me anyways, and everything you guys have said about it, I love. So that's all I'm going to say.
Excellent. Everybody had that one. Okay, my number 1, like I said, these are interchangeable songs, but my song is You Just May Be the One. I'm kind of surprised nobody has mentioned that song yet, to be honest with you, but I like it. I like the way it starts out, all men must have someone, have someone. It's just a great, I don't know, kind of pop song that has like some folk elements in it. And it's one of those songs, we've already touched on this, but like when I hear that song or a lot of these other songs that we've talked about, I hear it and I'm like, why is this not on the radio? Why is this not on classic rock radio?
Yeah.
This was done by the Monkees. The Monkees had hits. They had hit albums. They had a TV show. Why is it that these are not played? You hear like the Eagles. We've talked about the Eagles and that connection. I love the Eagles. I'm not saying they shouldn't be on the radio, but I don't understand why some of these songs that we're talking about never made it to where they are on circulation of classic rock radio. And that song right there just seems like it would fit perfectly.
Because it's the Monkees. That's why.
I guess so. The Monkees only get played on like those kind of oldies stations. They don't get played on classic rock radio. They're only on those oldie stations. And, we know there's only 3 songs of theirs that they're going to play on there. And it is such a disservice, not only to the band, but to the music listening population. Because like you said, Chris, there's so many people, they don't even, not only do they not know that Michael Nesmith made all these great albums after the Monkees, they don't even know all the great songs the Monkees had.
No.
They only know a few songs. And these songs that we're mentioning are all great songs. These are fantastic songs where, if you would have liked some of these other hits, you like Lax Train to Clarksville, guess what? You might like You Just May Be the One.
Or Writing Wrongs.
Yeah. So many good songs. I don't know. It's just one of those frustrating things, but at least we've all got each other here where we can talk about these songs. And I'm kind of hoping that if there's 1 or 2 people that have actually watched this video, that they'll say, hey, you know what? I'm going to pick up on some of this stuff because it is some great music.
Do you like the TV version or the album version better?
Album.
And the difference is when he says, and you just may be the one in the TV show, whereas on the album it says, and you just may, there's like a little pause, and you just may be the one. So it's like a subtle difference, but nonetheless, anyway.
Wow.
That's an awesome point.
Yeah.
Hi, Robert.
We know he's still watching.
Yes, and George Allen, LPs and CDs, is still watching too, I think. Hi, George.
George.
Well, anybody, you see, at the end of these videos, we need to do something special. Like, well, Jeff, this is your channel. So like you should say, anybody watching now, I'll send them $10.
Like show full frontal nudity. You mean something like that?
You better let Chris do
I
that.
don't know,
No.
All right. Well, Sam's already like, oh my God, I can't believe I agreed to do this. But
That's been good.
Well,
Yeah.
it's Sam's turn, isn't it?
Sam, what's your number 1 pick? Your all-time number 1 pick.
Of all time. It's been
Better be the correct answer too, or Chris will get pissed.
Yeah.
Don't say Carlisle Wheeling.
It's not Carl Wheeling. It's not Hunger Like the Wolf. It's
well, why not?
I know it's like top 15, but it's Papa Jane's Blues.
Nice.
Other than I think I've done another Mike Nesmith thing, and this is always going to be like my favorite Monkees Nesmith tune. Just fantastic lyrics, almost like in a Bob Dylan style, Stream of Consciousness, mid-60s style Bob Dylan, no heartaches felt, no longer lonely, nights of waiting finally won me, happiness is all rolled up in you. It's just a lot of words in less than 2 minutes, and killer harmonies. I think Mickey is also on this track. I know that first album, they weren't all in the same studio at the same time, but I think Mickey's on this track as well. Maybe Davey as well, but yeah, it was fantastic to see him do this live. Again, it predates the Monkees. He did it at the Troubadour before he was with the Monkees. So yeah, it's like Gary said it earlier, it's an earworm. It gets stuck in your head. Like that chorus is just fantastic.
Great song.
Yeah.
Did we all have Chris, I think, are you the only one who didn't have that on your top 10?
I didn't have that in my top 10, no.
Okay.
That's hipster.
I shouldn't even be allowed on this video.
That's too mainstream.
Well, it's not that. It's just your credibility.
Yeah, see, Sam's right. I tried to pick the obscure Nesmith tunes to show you that, wow, he really likes Nesmith.
Well, see, Nesmith knew me. Like, I've got his autograph.
Nice.
So I got
see, there you go. I don't have it.
He said, he told me one time, he said, you really need this signature. I insist that you get it and put it in your collection.
I have the Prison signed by Nesmith.
Are you trying to like one up me?
Crickets. I love that I say it and there's like crickets. They're like, oh.
I'm sorry. Wow.
We didn't, yeah. So
That is very cool, though. All right. Well, I will say my number one has not, nobody has had my number one on their list. I can't believe it. I guess it sort of like, I'm happy on one hand, but on the other hand, I'm like, oh, well, these guys probably think the song sucks. So I'm a little apprehensive to even mention it, but I am going with off of the Instant Replay album, Don't Wait for Me.
great song.
Always love that song.
Beautiful
Just
song.
and like, you know, I talk about like I'm not a country fan. Well, yes, you are. There's nothing gets more country than Don't Wait for Me. But yeah, I just love it. Always like that slide guitar on there is always just something about that track. And I think I had like my first girlfriend at the time and we were breaking up and I was listening to this record and it was just kind of like, God, I love you. I love you. Don't Wait for Me. My favorite Mike Nesmith track. But while we're on the topic of Instant Replay, like let's talk about some of the garbage Davy Jones track on here. Like, don't listen to Linda. Get the fuck off of this album already. And same with The Girl I Left Behind Me. Like, you know, or and then like it's not bad enough you have that. Then right behind you, we've got The Girl I Left Behind. Like, fuck off, baby. Seriously, you know, like this album was going so good. And then, you know, you got Shorty Blackwell, which is fine, but it's always the Davey stuff that ruins these albums for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Davey sings A Man Without a Dream, which is a great song.
No, it's not.
Crickets again. Can you hear me at all? I feel like what I say is not I'm like, I have a signed version of Prison, and then there's like
Crickets.
nothing. And then I'm like, oh yeah, fucking Man Without a Dream, great song.
I'm a man.
Nothing. No reaction.
I'm a man without a dream. What's not to love about that? It sounds like a fucking game show theme song, like a dating game or some crap like that. Like, get out of here with your Man Without a Dream. Whatever. Like, okay, so yeah, You and I is on here, so you know, props for that. But you know, I mean, the fact that we got to put up with some of this other crap on here, and this would have been, I don't know.
Do you like Shorty Blackwell though?
I didn't say I like it. I said it's better than, you know, any of the Davy Jones.
So Jeff,
Jesus.
I take it that you love Changes then, where you get half Davy Jones, you know?
I loved Changes is really good, actually. I like Changes.
So I know Jeff is a big fan.
I don't know. There's a, you know, I mean, it suffers the same thing. I'm like, oh my God, like now we have half an album of Davy Jones stuff on here. But I mean, there's some stuff, like there's stuff I like a lot on there, but then there's, you know, other stuff where it's like, oh.
Yeah. Is all the Davy Jones songs are so hit and miss. I mean, you know, and more miss than hit.
Yeah, I mean, I do like some Davy Jones songs. I think like Cuddly Toy is a great track. You know, I don't know. There's some stuff. I'm not saying I hate all
And the
of it.
others.
You know, most of it.
I think
hate,
we'd have a
but
hard time making a top 10 Davy Jones song.
we would have to go like top 5. I think
Yeah.
really, you know.
Yeah.
Other beyond that is kind of stretching it, but
Except for Chris. Sounds like Chris could do his top 15, but you know.
Well, you didn't mention French Girl, or no, French song off of Present.
I don't mind that. I mean, honestly, like I don't, you know, a little girl goes out walking in the rain. You know, I don't know. That's all right. It's not offensive to my ears as I'm a man without a dream. I mean, it's just like the whole thing. Because you got the strings, you got the horn. It's like, it's too much. It just sounds too schlocky, syrupy. Anyway, I don't know. Like my pick was Don't Wait for Me. How the hell did I get off on this Davy Jones?
And I'm just going to let you know this video is about 2 hours long.
Jesus.
Yeah. Well,
No one is watching right now.
Robert.
Hi, Robert.
Yes.
Hi, Robert.
God bless Robert. He's the only one who would put up with a video 2 hours long of us acting like we do. Okay. Well, anyway, so fun video, Sam. I hope we get to do this again. I hope we haven't totally put you off ever joining.
It was
our
great.
game
I loved
again.
it. I seriously loved it.
Well, you know what's funny is I'm supposed to do a video with Sam next week, and I have a feeling like in a couple days I'm going to get a text from him say, I'm actually busy Wednesday.
The obligations have really stacked up this week.
Yeah. Work's a bitch this week. It just can't.
It is. But to
Sorry.
be fair, Robert will be a guest on that video, so he'll know. Yeah.
No, but I'd like to do more videos with Sam on here. That'd be fun.
would.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was great.
Well, Chris is a lot more serious on his own channel than he is on here. So.
Well, I do jokes, but they're more,
Well, yeah, but when you have guests, when you do collaboration videos, you don't normally do that. On your own, yeah, you do.
Right.
You do little subtle jokes.
Yeah, I'm just an asshole when we get into collaboration videos.
Yes, which is great because I love that version of you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, on my channel, I have to. It's all the presentation, Gary. You know what I mean?
It's highbrow.
Yeah. I mean, right now we're on Jeff's channel, so who gives a shit what we say or what we do?
People who watch Jeff's channel, they know we're going to be just talking shit and making shit up.
I know Chris is on his best behavior when he's doing one of his own videos, but like this is the only time we get to see the real Chris Profi unplugged. Yeah.
I think Gary is on to something though, because I think Jeff brings out that side in all of us. It's sort of that
He does.
I don't know. I'm going to swear more.
Beavis and Butthead come out.
Yeah.
Well, it starts off,
develop my
I
own
don't know.
vinyl tag.
Well, I think the video starts off very PG, and then like, 3 beers into it, I'm totally like,
I don't know what
I'm
changed.
gonna throw out the F-bomb, and
Well, you're right, because in the beginning of the video, we're like, yes, and Michael Nesmith was one of the, he started the whole genre of country rock, and we're like, and then by the end, we're like, fuck it, and Dre.
Davy
Jones.
All right.
See, that's the best part. Like, you got to wait till the end, like the beginning. It's like fast forward an hour, and then you get like the most entertaining part of the video.
Exactly. This is the best shit. Nobody watches it.
I know. Oh, look at that, bedtime stories.
Ooh.
Great album, killer.
Well, we know what you're doing after this video.
Yeah, she's looking pretty good on that cover. I tell you that much. I wouldn't kick Madonna out of bed for eating crackers.
All right. Well, apologies, everybody. I'm sorry you had to sit through another one of these things, but
Sorry, Sam.
yeah.
Sorry, Robert. Sorry, Robert.
I thought bringing Billy Preston in would be on our best behavior, like
I know.
it would totally ground us a little bit, but doesn't matter. We still go off the rails. We still act like children, and what can I say? But thanks everybody for hanging in there. If you have, we'll be back next week with another enthralling topic, and can't guarantee Sam will be there with us after tonight's display, but
Can't guarantee any of it.
yeah, right. Well, all right.